I worked on the convention committee for a couple of years, learning who the leaders were within the rest of the profession. And I went through the ranks of the offices of the Newark suburban section and became president in 1980. I then switched my interests over to the state organization and began to get involved in things that were going on at the state level. I worked my way through the various offices of the state and was elected president of AIA New Jersey in 1994. The total reorganization of the state organization was one. It was a difficult time. We made it work. And the fact that it's been operating as such ever since, I believe it was the right move to make. The office in Woodbridge was very large. At that particular time, there was no internet. So if you wanted AIA documents, you went and bought a paper copy of an AIA contract. And New Jersey was renting office space to store paper documents. And if you wanted them, you either called up and paid for them and had them mailed to you, or you went and dropped in to the headquarters and picked them up. Whether it was a contract document or any other kind of form that was put out by the AIA. And it was a large office, had a big conference room. We had a staff, I believe, between the executive director, there were 2 or 3 other individuals who worked there handling various aspects of the organization. And it was a heck of an expense, not only the office space, but the salaries. And it was becoming a financial burden to the members who didn't want their dues raised. And that's why we had to change it out into being run by a management company. I really believe it honed my leadership skills. I mean, you can only become a better leader by being a leader, in my opinion. And having been involved in AIA New Jersey led me to go on to getting involved in other things, from chairman of my zoning board of adjustment in Atlantic Highlands for 7 years to president of the Board of Education at my son's parochial school, to moving to Florida. And, I couldn't stop, so I became president of the Homeowners Association. I really have 3 pieces that I'd like to mention. The first was the only building I did in my own hometown of Atlantic Highlands, and that was an emergency services building, which was really off the main street, sort of between the main street and some of the great old Victorian homes in the borough of Atlantic Highlands. So it had a very residential look to it. And it was for the first aid squad and the fire department, both of which are volunteer organizations. That's one of them. As you mentioned, I had a lot of involvement in healthcare architecture, from nursing homes to assisted living to hospital renovation kinds of projects. One that I did that was extremely interesting was in New Brunswick, and that was an AIDS clinical trials facility many, many years ago when AIDS first was on the horizon. And, that hit me pretty hard because I had a very close friend from college who died of AIDS. And the third one was a private school for Oak Hill Academy in Middletown. And that was very interesting because there was a very tight budget to begin with. The campus has exploded since we did the first initial work. But I knew the headmaster of the school, who also lived in my own town. And we worked very hard with him and put something together that was constructed initially of modular structures. We used modular structures to tie into an old historic residence that was on the property that became the administration building. So those were really the three structures that I would keynote as far as my work in New Jersey is concerned. When we first found out that Legos was doing a program with children, I had 4 giant boxes of Legos delivered to my office. No charge, no nothing. There were no sets or general toys or anything, just a myriad of different pieces from Legos, all in these boxes. And I don't know who it was that I assigned to handle it, but we set up a program with a bunch of elementary school children. And all of the members or many of the members of AIA Newark Suburban were there and worked with these children in putting buildings and structures together. And that was the first time I met Stacy. She was a recent graduate at the time. And she and my wife were sitting on the floor building these things with the little children. And it was fantastic. It's a shame that we didn't have cell phone cameras at the time.